Hey guys, welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Today, I hope we're gonna have a good discussion here. So, I'm streaming now on YouTube and on TikTok. And for those of you on TikTok that are interested in my content, I do more long form content on YouTube. So, if you want to check out my YouTube, that's a Retro Tech Mall. Go check it out. So, recently, I made a video, which is actually getting quite a bit of traction on YouTube. I made a video about Pentax and the new cameras from Pentax, it was 2022. I think it was around December of 2022 when Pentax announced that they were planning on getting back into the film camera business. And I was so excited, guys. I was really stoked for it. You know, let me just go back a bit because for those of you that know, I have been a film photography enthusiast for a while. I started my YouTube channel in 2017, and back in the day, I would walk around with my film cameras and people would be giving me the weird looks, like, who is this guy? Who is this guy carrying around this strange contraption? 2017 was such a I guess an interesting time to be a film enthusiast, but I was one of the advocates, for film on YouTube. I started collecting cameras and I started talking about them. I created a whole bunch of videos. It was exciting. And the way it started was actually right here at this table here. I was getting into film. It was helping me in my own, personal life, and I would sit here with the small collection of film cameras in this cabinet. Now I have too many, but I would sit here and I would have a small collection of film cameras and I would just be looking at the film cameras and playing with them and just marveling at them, trying to understand them, reading a bit more about it. And then my wife came and she was standing right there and she said, "Hey, Ben, you seem to be into film photography. Why don't you start your own channel?" So I was like, wait a second, you think people would be interested in this stuff? It's just film. Film is dead. And she said, "You know what? I see how every night you come and sit here and you're so much into this. You should start a channel." So that's what I did. I decided to start my own film photography channel. When I started, but slow but sure, I have a small but healthy community on YouTube and now on TikTok as well, which I'm streaming on both platforms now. But the point is that I was excited for film. I was so excited. For the first 3 years or so, it was really exciting. And then the pandemic hit in 2020. And one thing I noticed when the pandemic hit is, first of all, we couldn't go out to shoot. It was really hard. And what I also noticed was everything was becoming more expensive. And film prices just went through the roof during the pandemic. It was a real challenge to buy affordable film. And for me, and around that same time, I heard about companies discontinuing the line of the last remaining film cameras like Nikon. Nikon did that, and I know that there were other companies though that were picking up the slack, like Polaroid. Polaroid was almost dead. It got bought out by the Impossible Project. They started making that sort of, they bought the formula and they were making the non-brand Impossible film packs. And then later on, I think some millionaire or multi-millionaire bought it again and picked up the Polaroid brand again and started running with it again. So Polaroid had a bit of a resurrection. Hi, Saho Kawagu. Thank you for the comment. I can't read it, but thank you so much for the comment. So Polaroid was doing well, but the other companies were not doing so well. I was a bit disappointed. The fact that film prices pretty much doubled and tripled in some instances, I had a bit of a crisis. I started thinking, how come that the rest of us are pushing for film so hard, But these manufacturers seem to be abandoning. They're not catching the clue. They're not getting a clue. You know, people are enthusiastic. Gen Z, millennials, even folks like me and Gen X, we were so enthusiastic about film. Someone said, Backup said, I used to join your lives a lot about 9 or 8 months ago. Thank you so much for joining again. Thank you. You are one of the faithful ones. I appreciate you. So, I was a bit disappointed. Do you still go live every day? Not every day. Every on the weekends, I try to go live every weekend as much as I can. You know, life is kind of busy right now. I work and I commute quite a bit, so that's what's causing. I used to go live almost every night, but not anymore because of work. But hopefully soon things will change and I will do more. But let's get back to the story. So I was a bit disappointed. For the last year or so, it became almost unaffordable to shoot film. I have a whole bunch of film in my freezer, but I've been preserving those. It became unaffordable to shoot film. I felt like the companies were abandoning film, and I couldn't understand why they weren't picking up on the fact that people were so enthusiastic about film photography. It was very disappointing for me. And it got to a place where I'm like, okay, you know, maybe film is just not going to see any serious uptake from these companies, you know, the old manufacturers of film cameras and film as well, film stock. But guess what? In December of 2022, I got a nice big surprise when I went on the internet and found out that Pentax is going to be releasing a few cameras. They decided to get back into film photography. I was really excited, and I made a video about that on my YouTube channel. Those of you that saw that video, you can go on my YouTube channel, which is Ben's Retro Tech, and check it out. But that was exciting. And you know, when I put up the video, some people were saying, "Oh, it may not come to pass. It's likely they're likely not going to." It's probably just putting feelers out to see if this is feasible or not. But just last week, I was on the internet browsing and I came across this article which said that, and actually it was from the Digital Camera World. I think that's what it was. Let me try and pull up one of those articles here. And it said that Pentax had already successfully completed a prototype of a film camera, and I made a video about it on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. And I was like, whoa, you mean a company that actually follows through with their word, you know, keeps up with their own word. You know, they said they were going to get into film cameras again, and they said over the past year they have been having these committees, brainstorming sessions, and they went through old blueprints for the film cameras. And the other thing that was notable, which they said, was that this camera is going to have some modern features. Okay, some modern features. But they said it will also actually a comment that a celebrity that they brought to see the prototype. This celebrity, her name is Rico, R-I-K-O. And she mentioned that this thing had a nice touch of retro. And it was because this camera that she tested, this prototype, had a manual advance lever, you know, like this. This one right here, this one here. This is the advanced lever. For those on TikTok and YouTube, this is what she was talking about. So my sense is that what she saw would be like a traditional SLR, like a single lens reflex camera. Let me tilt you guys so you can see a bit more. So my sense is that it's going to be a camera like this, at least for the first one that they've developed a prototype for. So that was exciting. That was really exciting. They mentioned that that's a touch of retro, but it also has a whole bunch of modern features. So in this video, sorry, it's a video. In this live, I have assembled a bunch of Pentax cameras here, and I'm just going to go through them and we're going to discuss what are some of what are some of the potentials here when it comes to the design that Pentax may go with for this camera, this new film camera that they're thinking about. So feel free to leave comments. Or somebody said, I'm hearing impaired, so I can't hear, so I can't use subtitles, but I'll watch it later. Thank you so much, Xiao Hai. I'll leave this up and I will put the subtitles on there so that you can get the subtitles for later. But this is so exciting, guys. I am really excited. But here, let's go through some of the range of potential cameras that Pentax may have. And the reason is that they said they will be, it's not like a direct revival of a camera. For me personally, if you ask me, am I live somewhere? Yes, I am live on YouTube as well. So I'm getting comments from YouTube and TikTok. That's back up. Yes. Okay. If you were to ask me, what kind of film camera would I want to see from Pentax? I would likely go the route of, say, the Spotmatic. Where's my Spotmatic? This is my Spotmatic right here. You know, this would be like one of the classic film cameras from Pentax. This is the Pentax, Asahi Pentax Spotmatic. And these cameras are beautiful cameras. The manual cameras, just classic, well built, solid, and all of that, okay? It has all the classic features of a Pentax camera. It's not too big, it's not too bulky, it's not too heavy. I think that this camera is quite perfect in its design, you know, and Pentax also has some really good glass as well, so you pair those. There's another camera which I would think would be another perfect camera, which they could revive with modern features, and that would be this one here. And this one is the Asahi Pentax K1000. Just take a look at this. First, YouTube, you guys on YouTube, take a look at this beauty. And those on TikTok, see, this camera is beautiful. This camera is a classic camera. It doesn't have a lot of features on it. It's one of the cameras that I would recommend to a no-nonsense person, somebody that wants to get straight deep into film photography. You don't mind making mistakes. You don't mind learning the hardware. You don't mind learning the interplay between shutter speed and aperture and ISO. You don't mind learning how to get good exposure, how to reduce blur, how to use a proper tripod to get a nice sharp image using a camera like this. You don't mind all of that. This is a kind of camera that I would recommend for you. However, this is also the kind of camera that I would think of as a classic. If you ask me what's a classic Pentax SLR, this would come to mind, you know? So if they were to recreate this classic design with more modern features, some people on the video that I put up on YouTube mentioned features such as like the metering, more modern metering for the camera. Some mentioned what were some of the other suggestions that others brought up. It wasn't just about metering. Anyways, I'll try and remember, but there were a few suggestions on my YouTube video on what they feel like could be modern features on these cameras. The thing about modern features for these cameras is that a lot of these cameras started evolving before the companies decided to go all digital. like Pentax literally produce cameras such as this one, you know? And these cameras had autofocus. This one had autofocus. And it had some of the more advanced metering systems as well. These were automatic cameras. They were quite modern, you know? So when they say they're going to do a modern a camera with more modern features, I'm lost as to what could Pentax do that could make it more modern than these ones that they were producing. This is quite modern, you know. It has modern features. I would think not as modern as the modern digital cameras, but certainly it has some advanced features for a camera like this. So they could go a route like this one, which is the automatic camera, but this wouldn't match the narrative, right? It wouldn't match the narrative because what they've described so far is a camera that has a manual winding mechanism or lever. So it could be one of these ones, you know, like this one here, which I would call this one a semi-automatic camera. This is the Pentax ME Super. So this one I would consider to be a semi-automatic camera because it doesn't have the automatic focusing, but it does have like the automatic uh, drive. So it has the automatic drive system, and it also has some automatic metering on there. So this one will be similar to the Canon AE1 program, and this is the Pentax ME Super. So take a look at it, those on YouTube and those on TikTok. This is how the ME Super looks. This would be akin to somebody's asking, how long have you been collecting things? And by things, I guess you mean everything, because I collect film cameras. I also collect basically retro things. Um, I'd say since around 2010-ish, I started collecting things, but not seriously. But since 2017, I started getting a lot more into collecting things, and it became a hobby that I have kept for a while now, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying this hobby. Somebody's asking, yeah, I watched your music collection live and cameras. Thank you, thank you. And somebody asked, do you know the worth of the collection? Sorry. No, I wouldn't give a worth to my collections because there's an objectivity to it, to that question, and there's also a subjectivity to it. To me, they're priceless. A lot of these things are priceless because they come with memories attached. So I collect them for that purpose. For a lot of the things that I'm not selling is because if you guys think about it, I have literally been shooting my children since 2016 on film, and I've literally seen them grow. I have pictures of them as 8-year-olds, and now they're teenagers, you know? And I have seen my children shot on film from the time they were little to now tall. My son is just as tall as I am, and they're teenagers. So there's a whole bunch of memories attached to these cameras, you know? So can I put a value on that? No, but if I were to put a number, like an actual number on everything, like you're asking, it's gonna be hard for me because I have a large inventory of stuff, not just cameras. This is only half of my collection here, you can see, and I have a whole bunch here. I have another group of cameras. Those are the point and shoot cameras. They're in a different collection somewhere. And then I also have my reel-to-reels and the camcorders. I have a whole collection of camcorders. I have my stereo systems. I have several stereo systems. I have TVs, LCD, CRT TVs, a gaming system, retro gaming, retro computers, things like that, which I'm selling most of them, by the way. I'm not just hoarding. So thank you so much for the likes. I just hit 1,000 likes on TikTok. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So those of you interested, you can always go on my bio or on my page and go check out my store on eBay. Click on it and check out the stuff that I'm selling. I also have my website, which is filmphoto.net, where I'm selling my film cameras as well. So it's transitioned from a hobby, still a hobby, but now I decided, you know what? I might as well turn it into a side business as well. So that's what I'm doing, by the way. So, so my stuff is worth, I don't know, I can tell you, but I do have a lot of stuff. But let's get back to the points here. So here, so somebody's saying, I think I watched the live of it. Okay, thank you so much, Babcap. Thank you, Babcap. All right, so Pentax has the option of going several routes. Okay, so let's talk about that because I think they're going to do SLRs and they're also going to do point and shoot. We don't know how many SLRs or how many point and shoot. You know what? Let me go through some of this article and I'll read this article for you guys. It's just parts of this article so that we will get a nice background. So it says that film, and this is from Digital Camera World. Okay, that's what I'm reading now. And it says, film photography enthusiasts rejoice. Ricoh has set a date of spring 2024 for its new Pentax film cameras. So not just one camera, but cameras. In December of 2022, Ricoh announced plans to create a new series of Pentax film cameras. Now more details have emerged, okay, on the camera types. They said during an interview, I'm just skipping through some of it, it says that they will be releasing two small compact cameras in the spring of 2024. So two small compact cameras. I guess by compact cameras, they mean point and shoot, right? I think that's what it means. If I'm wrong. Okay, bye, Babcap. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I'm loving the Christmas hairdo. Toyota is making jokes here. Thank you. So you tell me, guys, if it says compact cameras, then it means point and shoot cameras. That's what I'm thinking. And they added that there will be technically high end. They will be technically high end without the high end price tags. Wow. But now specifications have been left to our imagination. So they're being a bit, they're not giving us all the information. They've been throwing us some fresh meat here and there just to keep the conversation going. But they're not really telling us exactly what they're doing, right? Um, and that's weird. They say compact cameras have been growing in popularity as a budget-friendly way into film photography, especially with the rising price of film, which is true, which I talked about. And the small form reduced film size makes them approachable for beginner film photographers. So let's talk about compact cameras. I have a few of Pentax's compact cameras here actually. And Pentax had this brand called Espio. Okay, so these were the series. Hey man, Marcus, I think I remember you. I believe you've been here on this live before, if I'm not mistaken. So look at these cameras here. So these are the Espios. And if you were to ask me about, I think Pentax makes good cameras. They made good film cameras. These SPUs were reliable, they were hardy. I mean, after so many years, look, they're still here. And they still look quite beautiful, you know? Look how beautiful these cameras look. Very, very beautiful cameras, eh? And so if they were to release something like this, though, I think I think they could make this a little sleeker. So since they're talking about compact cameras, I can see these cameras being a bit, I mean, the displays are going to be much more advanced, much more modern, much nicer. They're gonna have some really sleek, like a normal digital camera, LCD screen. It's not going to be basic. It's not going to be a basic display like what you see on this camera per se, right? It's going to be a bit more advanced than that. Some of the features could be more modern as well. Uh, they could even have like memory recalls on the cameras, so that if I'm shooting, I can put a setting on there that I can easily recall and get back to it depending on the situation I'm in. I could set presets, things like that. That would be nice. That would be nice. Um, but other than that, there's not much more modernization you could do to a camera like this, because these cameras, they became quite advanced in their own rights. They had that red eye feature, they had autofocus. Um, they became quite compact and quite modern by their own rights. But what I would expect is something more sleeker design, as more sleeker design than this. That's something that I would expect from their modern compact cameras. Okay, let's continue reading the article, and then I'll talk about the others, the SLRs. And it says that they understand that Pentax has a strategy for creating very, very, very niche products. And this time is no different. So instead of following the latest trends in the camera market, Pentax has created this film camera lineup in a direct response to surveys of Japanese customers. And that's actually something we need to talk about, because the Japanese film enthusiast literally, I would say, saved film photography. So Marcus says, anyways, have a great rest of your day. Good night. Bye. Thank you so much, Marcus. Thank you so much for joining. You are always welcome, and hope you join us another time. But one thing that I noticed when I first started, enjoying film photography is film photography had died pretty much everywhere else other than Japan. In Japan, they were still shooting film. In Japan, they were still listening to mini discs, and even cassettes were still a thing in Japan, which was quite interesting. There's something about Japanese culture that sort of holds on to tradition, and they tend to do that quite a bit. It's in the culture, so I'm not surprised that the Japanese held on to that. So now Pentax is saying that based on the feedback they got from the Japanese customers, you know, they are bucking the trend basically. And I must say that I'm really proud of Pentax, and that's why I'm doing all these videos and all these lives, just to, we all have to do our part, because the thing is, and I gave the example of vinyl. If we don't support Pentax, then the other companies will see Pentax fail and say, "Oh, we were right. Pentax made a mistake by going into film photography." However, if we support Pentax, it would be like vinyl, the vinyl resurgence. I was so shocked. Just last week, I went into the store just after New Year's, and I was just browsing. I think it was on Boxing Day, just trying to figure out some deals, and I went to the hi-fi section, and I was shocked to see vinyl, new turntables and record players. I was like, what? And these were not just the cheap record players of old. Like, when this whole vinyl resurgence thing started, you had the knockoff brands from China, they're made to look retro, but they're just really light and cheap, you know, very light. And people were just buying those because, hey, we all want to do vinyl again, and the hipsters were buying those. Meanwhile, they had very terrible sounds. They are way past that now. If you go to the stores now and you look up the hi-fi section, you would find actual high quality turntables, high quality, and these are modern with modern features, and they are new in production. This is a great sign that that resurgence is here to stay. That vinyl resurgence is here to stay. The companies saw the enthusiasm of people, of the public, and they said, hey, this resurgence is actually something that we can bank our money and investments on. So they started producing high quality products again, high quality turntables again. But I'm only saying that to show you that this could happen for film too, you know. And Pentax is just the first, I believe, of many. And you know that a couple years ago, what was it? Leica. It was Leica. Leica also came out with the announcement that they were going to restart production of one of their famous, I think it was the rangefinder. And now Pentax did that right away. That's a great sign. So what I'm saying here is that we need to support Pentax. I would say that if this thing comes out, let's hype it up. If you're into film photography, we all have to do our parts to hype it up, to make as much noise as possible. Somebody said I did not order a but I don't know what that means. So yeah, so that is something that we all have to do. We all have to commit to doing that. If we can do that, then, hold on. Every now and then I have to just remove people from the live. So anyways, one second, guys. All right. Okay. So so if we can help, if we can provide that support to Pentax, that would really go a long way for other manufacturers to see that Pentax made the right move, and that's really what we're going to do. So let's talk about the cameras, okay? So Pentax literally could come up with, for the SLR type cameras, they could start with a camera like this. I think if they want to go classic, add modern features to it, and decide that, hey, we really want to speak to our fans of our old cameras, they should start with something like this. This would be the Spotmatic. If they modernized the Spotmatic, I think they would make some money off this, you know. It's a beautiful camera. It's manual. Add some more modern metering to this. Add some potentially, and I mentioned this in my video that I made on YouTube, and some people were like, no. You know what I said? I said, what if Pentax decided to add a sensor to their film cameras? What do you think about that, guys? Would it cost that much more to put like a digital sensor? Okay, so it becomes like a dual digital and film camera. Somebody said, love my K1000, but the shutter timing is off and I'm not sure about repair options. I'd be open. Okay, yeah, absolutely. How old is that? This one here would be about what? Oh my gosh. Whenever I think the 70s, I'm thinking 30 years. But that's like 50 years ago, okay? The 70s are like 50 years ago. Oh my goodness. Wow. Whenever I think of the 70s, I don't know why. You think about 30 years ago. It's not 30 years ago. The 70s is 50 years ago. So if this was made in the 70s, I think, well, I'm sure this was made in the 70s. And if this was made in the 70s, then it's close to 50 years old, right? That's an old camera. But the fact that it's still here looking so beautiful, it still works, that's a testament to, film and the longevity of film. Do I still use them? Absolutely. I still shoot with all my cameras. I have a YouTube page. I put up sample photos of my cameras. You can check it out. It's Ben's Retro Tech. So you guys on TikTok, you may not know it, but I actually had, thank you so much for the TikTok universe. I appreciate it, Asker. Yeah, those of you from YouTube, you know me, I'm old school. I've been on YouTube for a while, and then I switched to TikTok. Not switched, but joined TikTok. And why so many? Why so many? Oh, gosh, I get this question all the time. I love film photography. I love film cameras a lot. When I first started film, it just filled my time. It helped my mental state. It made me very happy. I did this for myself. And then I told a story. My wife asked me to start this. So I started talking to people on YouTube. And the more I studied film photography, the more I became engrossed in collecting. And that collection portion is something that's more innate. It comes from, I guess, from my childhood. And the reason why it comes from my childhood is I grew up poor, okay? I grew up very poor, from a very poor family. And all of my childhood, I only can count maybe about 3 or 4 photos from my childhood, all of my childhood. And that's tough. So when I became an adult and I had some means, I decided that my children will never go through what I went through. I'll make sure that they have all the memories. When they grow up, they will have videos, they'll have pictures. So one thing that I started doing was taking videos and pictures of everything. So I have all kinds of videos at every stage of their lives, from the time they were in a hospital, when they first entered this world, to now. And in that quest to collect images also comes the quest to, I guess, indulge in things that I felt like I was deprived when I was a kid. There's a little kid in me that always wants to get the things that I was deprived of. For example, when I was a kid, I always wanted a Nintendo. The Nintendo game, it was a Game Boy, but I couldn't afford it. My family couldn't afford it. So I ended up playing with stones. And now that I became an adult, I decided, I'm gonna buy that for my children. They will never lack. So we all have a little child in us, and oftentimes it's that little child that determines how we behave as adults, for better or for worse. And for me, I acknowledge that that's where my need to collect these things comes from. Somebody's asking, what do I do for a living? I am an administrator at a college. So that's what I do for a living. Yeah, so so back to the topic. So that's why I collect, okay? Why so many? And then I also started selling them. So I don't just collect and keep them. I collect to shoot. I collect to experiment with them. I share the videos on YouTube. Those of you on YouTube, you've seen I have hundreds of videos on YouTube on these cameras with sample photos. I not just shoot film. I also develop my own film. I've developed all the film that I've been shooting since 2017. I develop color and black and white. I also print in the darkroom. I have a darkroom in this house. I print black and white. I'm going to start printing color soon. I bought the gear for it. And the chemicals are a bit of a hassle to get those in Canada. But recently I've noticed that there's some availability for the chemicals. Hey Gabriel, on YouTube, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. So, anyways, oh, you two O 03, thank you so much. Is it 05 or 03? 05, 05, my eyes are not that great, but it's 05, I think. You two have a good night. So let's finish this live, guys. Let's finish it nicely. So the bottom line is Pentax could go this route and get a build of their camera from something like this, which is a Spotmatic. And on the same vein, they could also go this route. So they could either do the Spotmatic or the K1000. I think those would be your best bet, okay? They could modernize this. I think these two would certainly be my picks if you were to ask me. Get one, if they're making 3 cameras, then get one that looks like at least one of these two here. Get one automatic camera that looks like one of these, okay? Get automatic cameras. These are automatic, okay? So get one automatic that looks like one of these. And this one here is this is the Pentax MZ50. Those on YouTube and those on TikTok. Okay, this is the Pentax MZ50. This one here is the Pentax, which one is this one? Gosh, A3000. I love this camera. By the way, this camera is so beautiful. I love it. I love this one too, by the way. Just feature packed. So these cameras I've shot with both of them. I have videos on YouTube. You can check them out. But the second type of film camera, since they said they're doing 3 cameras, then get one that looks like I mentioned, that looks manual like this, okay? Manual. Do an automatic camera that looks like this one. I would say something like this would be quite nice, okay? Or even if you want to go the cheaper route, then do this, okay? And for the third one, make a camera that is sleeker, point and shoot, compact. Since they're doing a compact camera for sure, then do something like this, but make it sleeker, make it nice. I love Pentax, but their cameras don't, the compact cameras or the point and shoot cameras don't have the sleekest design. I mean, compare this to the Olympus or even Ricoh. Ricoh had some really nice cameras. I have some Ricohs in here. They're sleek. They're very sleek. So I would think that if they're gonna go that route, they could do something that's sleek, like this. Sleeker than this, I meant. So those are the 3 cameras that I would recommend to Pentax. 05, thank you so much for joining. And on that note, I am going to call it a night, guys. But this has been fun. Thank you so much, everyone that joined me on this live. I will come on live again, God willing, tomorrow. Have a wonderful night to my friends on TikTok and to my friends on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. And by the way, if you want to get cameras or any retro things from me, go on eBay. My link is on my page. Check it out. I have a film camera store. It's filmphoto.net. I also put up samples of my pictures, film photos on there. So go check them out. I'm writing a blog. I have blogs on filmphoto.net. So check those out as well. And what else? Join my YouTube page, guys. Go on my YouTube page. Is Ben's Retro. No, it used to be Ben's Retro Tech. Now it's Retro Tech Mall. So join those guys. Go and subscribe to my page. And on TikTok, it's also Retro Tech Mall. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and Happy New Year. Good night, guys.